Yeah. All right. Sometimes when you carry a strong message, people resist you. And that's not because you're wrong. It's because you're shining a light on the insecurities that they have not faced. And our guest, and I would have to say myself, embody that truth. And that's why our voices are necessary. And this quote is from yours truly. I used it last time, but it was so powerful I had to use it again this time. And this quote addresses one of the main reasons I created Hippie-Fari, the beautiful, life-changing message of reggae music. It was created for social change, and its message is as strong today as it was in the 60s when the first reggae records were released in Jamaica. So, welcome to another episode of Hippie-Fari Reggae Radio and Podcast, recorded live in the Omen Honey Reggae Radio and Media Studios in the beautiful Ocala National Forest. Take 1 second and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Hippie-Fari. And I am your host, Scotty the High-Strung Hippie, and Hippie-Fari is a podcast where we discuss all things reggae. So if reggae music is your thing, you're in the right place. So today we have our special guest back in the studio for the 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th. I said 100th last time. That was shooting a little high, but it's been a lot, but it never gets old. And like I always say, we wanted to partner with a band that defined this podcast and our media project perfectly. And this band, from their lyrics to the music to their demeanor on a personal level and their message on a professional level, pretty much is the epitome of everything we stand for at Hippie-Fari. So this monthly is named Cultivated MonDaze. We drop an episode the first Monday of every month featuring Cultivated Mind. We discuss their upcoming shows, past events, new music releases, featuring some of the new music live, and we just talk reggae and basic shit in general. So welcome back, Mr. Tony Brand. Let's say this is the 8th one, I believe. 8 months, still going strong. Then you did the first podcast with me when you and TC. So that, I believe you've been on, and I've had you on call-in, so you've probably been on the podcast about 15 times, but this is the 8th Cultivated MonDaze, man. 8 months, dude.
Yeah, man. I appreciate you having me. Happy holidays, by the way. And, yeah, excited for today's conversation and to see where all this stuff is headed, man.
So am I, bro. And when I talk to Tony, I always talk to Tony. I talk to him on a personal level. I'll just call him and we'll shoot the shit, but then we'll talk about the episode too, and because it's every month, so we don't want to do the same thing over and over again and bore people. And Tony asked me, he's like, "Well, how about I interview you?" And I was like, "All right, I'm totally down with that, man. I'm fine with that." So we can go ahead and let Mr. Tony kind of talk about what Cultivated Mind's been up to, any shows that are coming up, any shows in this past month that have maybe had some impact. I know you told me about one that was pretty funny. I don't know if you want to discuss it on the podcast, but you said you had a lot of fun, and it's only something that you do once a year. So, but
I was slightly inebriated at this year's Christmas show, and I was slightly inebriated at last year's Christmas show.
That's right.
I don't really drink at all, but something about Christmas shows is a lot of fun. People said the set was okay. I'll believe them.
Yes.
So. I don't drink a lot. I don't promote drinking, but yeah, it was a bit of merriment, and I do appreciate all the folks that came out. 7 Syndicate for putting on a great set, and it was a nice time, man. Gabe from United Souls came
Beautiful.
out. So,
shout out, Gabe.
Yeah, man, it was a nice night. Yeah, Soli, Satelli was there as well. He's fantastic. If you guys don't know him, please check out Soli. He's SOLI. Satele.
Nice.
He works with Native Dread and a bunch of crews and Vince Lee and the Hustle Shuffle.
Nice.
Just hear him on the microphone or on a guitar, man. It'll blow you away. Wicked cat.
And what's real funny, and it made me laugh, and I know we don't have to beat a dead horse. Oh, kind of funny, right? But when I was like, so Mr. Tony's like, I don't really drink that much. I was like, so what'd you drink? Jameson, right?
Yeah, you can't go wrong. So you can order. It's not great, but like you can go anywhere and Jameson's Jameson. To quote my old bass player Rochelle, that's what he used to say about music. You gotta make sure, you be like McDonald's. And I was like, McDonald's a horrible example, bro. And he was like, no, but he's like, you go to Big Mac in China, you get a Big Mac in Ohio. Right. It's the same thing. And it's kind of how I feel about Jameson.
That's right.
It's not. I'm not like giving it awards, but
No, but it just made me
It's
laugh.
the same thing everywhere.
It just made me
it's
laugh.
the same
because
thing.
You're like, I barely ever drink. I'm like, so what you drink? You're like, JMO. I'm like, whoa. Well,
Well, I mean, in for a penny, in for a pound, as they say.
That's it, man. You got to do it. And as an ex-restaurant manager, I'm going to agree with your buddy. I used to use McDonald's as an excuse all the time. I'm like, or as an example all the time. I'm like, look, man, when you, like he said, you know McDonald's is consistent. Whether it's consistently shit, it's still consistent. You know what I mean? So it's like, you know exactly what you're getting every single time.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
no surprises. Yeah. No surprises with McDonald's, man. So let's talk about the world of Cultivated Mind, man. What's been going on this past month, and what can we look forward to coming up here in the future, man? Tracks, album releases, shows, any fun stuff like that, man.
So right now the things are coming to a head, so to speak, and I'm working on getting like a culmination of like B-sides and tunes that were singles.
Yep.
That didn't get like put on albums.
Yep.
They're going to be put out on something that's literally coming out or being, sent to distributors within this week. So
that's beautiful.
That's been a while, and even if things get taken a little bit longer than I'd like, I'm still going to have at least singles coming out from that in the next couple weeks too on YouTube. So if things get dragged out on Spotify or whatever, because I'd like for some of them to hit playlists.
Yeah.
So you need some time to build to that. I'm going to go ahead and do like the 4-week thing or whatever and make sure those get out that way, but I'll still release them digitally for folks that want to hear some previews of what's coming. And then, this year is really trying to hammer in the roof on Endurance and get that blue reggae and a third album that I really don't have a name for yet. It's probably the more aggressive or gritty and not in the way you'd think with like distorted guitars or anything.
Right.
There's a lot of jazz, clean solos on it, but I really love Havoc's production on the old Mobb Deep stuff. And so I tried to take like some rub-a-dub elements, and I know some folks are like, this is going to sound ridiculous with slingshots and boom bap, but I kind of wanted to take that way and have a way to kind of deliver, I don't know, vocally a little more comfortably, more words. And so I think a lot of times, man, you do vague shots and people do things where they're kind of like, I did it in the past. I want music to be relatable. So if I had something that wounded me or I had to like process through music, I would be very vague in my lyricism so I didn't offend anybody. This time I don't really give a hoot.
Good.
I'm old, so if you're going to say something, say something. And I'm not really like taking shots at people necessarily, but there's been a lot of weird myths in our history of our project, and I'm going to clear up some of those through music and, write some songs about it. So that's kind of the goal, man, is to kind of like, I put our own actual version of things out that never really happened in terms of like what the ideology of this project is, what people think we are supposed to be putting out,
right,
what it has been over the years and transformed, and trying to get back to the original heart of why I did this music, because I've seen scenes change. I've seen people stab each other in the back, and I've seen homies lift you up.
Yeah.
It's regular life, man. It's like any other industry. So at the end of the day, you have to like go, all right, man, I'm trying to weed through, find the people that I actually do get along with, and I'm trying to make music. So it's not really so much about glitz, glamours, and shows like it used to be. And I did a lot of that, and I just feel like, okay, I had albums. I'd like some new ones out.
Yeah,
and,
amen.
I put those on the side to keep up with the hype, and hype annoys me and gets under my skin. So
right,
it's back to music. Back to music this year,
and
man. And
if I pray down by the
that,
river, that's on the B-sides.
Yes, but I might still release that like early as a single, like in the next week or two, just to get that out and bump it and promote a little bit for what else. I also have Memories is being redone. Yep. Ten in the Garden. John Gotti never got released, so that's coming out, and it's the old version just with real drums and TC playing drums, and Mark Whitmore on saxophone. He goes by both names now, but I have some old stuff that's like real old school. Cultivate Your Mind got redone with like flutes and junk in it.
Nice.
And, I threw some like Italian licks from some tarantellas and stuff. Melodica, just weird stuff that like made us unique in the beginning that other bands didn't do. So trying to get back to that and maybe say to hell with the formula, because formulas I don't know, man. Go buy a cookie cutter. There's plenty of albums if you want to hear the same thing. I want to make something that, even if it gets under your skin and you don't like it. Like I remember hearing Black Saint and the Center Lady by Charles Mingus when I was like early 20s. And somebody gave me John Gimmel, my first keyboardist and brilliant jazz musician, man. Killer guy, and taught me a lot about music and recording. and jazz. And like he used to go to what do you call them jugs, man? Like garage sales on Saturdays, Sundays, and he'd go through and try and find jazz records. And got like 2 copies of Blues and Roots, and gave one to me. And I think Freddie Hubbard's Red Clay, and those are still some of my favorite jazz albums. But I remember going, all right, well, let's check out more Mingus. I like this a lot. Yeah. And then I like stumbled into Black State and the Sinner Lady, and I was like frightened and petrified and turned it off and was like, what the hell is this?
Right.
And then like I came back years later as a more mature adult and heard it and was like, oh, wow. Like I hear the arguments, I hear the pain, the sensuality, racism. Without words, you hear, it's instead of painting with bright colors, it's a lot of calico, and just you hear like, I don't know, warmth and darkness all at the same time. Sometimes it's comfortable and sometimes it's not.
Right.
And I like, you turn the record off and there's flamenco parts and stuff, and you're like, what did he just put together, man? And horns talking to each other.
I love
it. It's a ballet. So like there's stuff like that where like I would rather put out music maybe that doesn't always resonate with a person on the first listen. And I feel like even on the singles records, I'm putting out stuff that still pop. Hey, you can sing to this and wow.
Yep.
And like, I want Endurance to kind of be a lot more blood, sweat, and tears. And like, if it makes you uncomfortable, whatever. I was uncomfortable.
Well, good. So, hey, man, then you know it worked.
So that's what it sounds like. Yeah, honesty, so that's where I'm going. And I just feel like that's a better way to kind of take the middle. This feels like the middle era of my career right now.
Sure.
Where like right now I have enough of a platform where if I make music, people might actually listen, and if I wait too long, they won't.
Right.
I feel like the moment to put out some left field stuff is right now. And if people don't dig it, whatever, the crew that's been with me forever know that I do dumb shit. Yeah. They know I do stupid stuff and pull out other types of music and whatever and change the formula occasionally.
And they will dig it eventually, like you said. Sometimes you have to listen to something, more than once to be able to get it or for it to resonate with you. But something that you did mention earlier, and one of the reasons I love Cultivated Mind, and I said this on my last Select to Scotty sessions when I played Cultivated Mind, I was like, I don't, like you said, the cookie cutter. I don't like to hear the same song 10 times in a row just with different lyrics. You know what I mean? And, I mentioned that Cultivated Mind does. A lot of your tracks are very different, but you do stick to the roots. And I love that. You know what I mean? You keep that roots feeling and that roots chug. If you're doing it with the horns, or you're doing it with the guitar, or you're doing it with the keys, or you're doing it, you still, you still know it's got that roots reggae vibe, but it goes so far off sometimes, but it keeps that base of roots, and that's what I love. You know what I mean? Like, that's very important to me in music.
That'll still be on the records. Even like the more hip hop tunes have like, it may not have a skank in it or a bubble, but it'll have like a boom, 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 rubber dub, eighth note kind of bass line. And I kind of like keep certain elements in the hip hop tunes that I feel like I love like old Shabba Ranks. Yeah. And like, I forget what it is, man, but respect. All the young stars feel respect the elders, yo.
Right.
With a pseudo we no powder. Like I love the like mix of beats with that, with like 90s boom bap and like dance hall was killer. So I want to kind of bring that back, but for songs that I like have kind of the message is not happy, like, or necessarily like praising God. Right. It's more just me letting off steam. Like I'm not gonna put a ton of reggae elements in there because I feel like, as they say, that's the King's music, man. It's God's music. So I don't want to like, for songs where I'm praising God, I want to use that. For songs where maybe I'm, letting a little vinegar out of the veins, I don't necessarily I want people to kind of get a different atmosphere and maybe not always associate those two or mix them up too much. So when I do have changes, like they are going to be like, oh, this is a hip hop tune. And like, yeah, because I don't want to soil reggae. Yeah, to me, reggae, I think you can mix it with stuff, but I think you have to mix it with healthy things. And like, if you're, as an artist, some of the stuff you produce that is unhealthy or might be like mentally a little bit like aggressive, sometimes people need to hear that because that's how they let off steam so they don't go piss off people in their own lives. Right. Like, that's why dudes listen to heavy metal and boom bap. It's like a way to relate to somebody who's in a mental phase that you are and be like, all right, man, somebody else has this kind of steam in them right now. And like, maybe I don't feel so alone out here. So you still got to put out that kind of stuff too. Yeah. But, there's going to be some weird changes, but the reggae is going to be reggae. I definitely listen to metal, man. I love my grindcore. I love my death metal. I love deathcore. One of my favorite bands right now is Infant Annihilator, and if you actually look at them, they are it's a parody band. They did it as a joke
They wanted the most brutal name, Infinite Annihilator, which is they definitely hit a home run with that one. And it's all studio stuff. They don't play live, but they wanted the most brutal, music they could possibly do, from the lyrics to the name to everything. And they did it as a joke, and it like charted #1 deathcore record, when it came out. And they were like, "Whoa, all right, we're on to something." So they didn't start taking it seriously, as in they didn't change their format, but they just kept pumping out tunes. And every time they put out music, it's like the entire death metal, deathcore, grindcore community just loves it. So, but yeah, I love all that. But at the same time, don't mix it with reggae, please.
Yeah, there's like a line, and like there's a line. We talked about this last time.
Yeah.
There's a line. You know where it is.
Yeah, you know where it is. I don't have to tell you. You know what I mean? Don't be moshing at a reggae show, please, dude.
Exactly.
So,
speaking of stuff that you're into, Mr. Scotty, I don't know if you want to start aiming some questions your way. If that's
I would
okay
love
with
to.
you.
I was just gonna say, and now introducing Scotty. Let's do it.
All right. Again, folks, thanks for coming and sitting in. I'll be your interviewer for today, and I'll try not to mess this up. Big shout to Mr. Scotty Fraser. We're going to figure out what makes him tick, what makes him the man he is, and what his plans and visions are.
Beautiful, man.
Cue the strings.
Here we go. Hold up.
No. And you're back to Hippie-Fari Reggae Radio and Podcast with your host, Antnee Brand of Cultivated Mind, here to interview Mr. Scotty Fraser at Home and Honey Studios.
Yes.
Scotty, how are we doing?
I'm doing fantastic, sir. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing good, man. Doing good. And we're going to kind of kick back early on, man. A lot of people know you as like kind of not just a social media and musician, but kind of I don't know, man, a big member of the overall scene in Florida. At least a lot of us see you that way, as kind of like an ambassador for Florida music and reggae to connect states that are outside with your crew.
Sure.
Can I ask, starting out, was Florida always in the picture? Did you move there as a kid? And how did you end up where you kind of are right now doing what you're doing, involved with podcasts and the reggae scene? How did you make your way over to Florida and get mixed up in reggae?
Awesome, man. Well, I've always been mixed up in reggae. Since I was 11 years old, I heard Peter Tosh on a surfing trip on my way to the beach. For the first time, it was Legalize It. And I had known who Bob Marley was and all that, but it was never something that was like, at the forefront. You know what I'm saying? And when I started listening to Peter Tosh, we played that tape, Legalize It, over and over and over and over again. So that was my introduction to reggae. That was in Charleston, South Carolina. And ever since then, reggae had always been music that I listened to and loved. It just put me in that mood that I absolutely adored. And, from a young age, I was also into revolutionary style groups like Greenpeace and PETA and Refuse and Resist and all that. I got a picture of me standing out in front of a Greenpeace boat when they came through. I was like 12 years old and wearing my Grateful Dead tie-dye shirt and had my long hair. I was a hippie, and I just always had loved that. And the more that I listened to reggae, the more that I realized this music is not just beautiful music, but it's also speaking the message that I speak, the message of resistance, the message of change, the message of social justice, through music. So it had always been something that I had loved dearly. And then obviously after Peter Tosh, I got into, Bob, big time. My mom actually had a Bob Marley CD. Remember those when you could buy 12 CDs for a penny, Columbia House? Everybody got them sent to them, and they never paid.
The magazines, yeah.
So my mom had gotten a bunch of CDs, and Legend was one of them. So, and there was an underground radio station that played reggae music. So I was listening to it a lot. Fast forward, Florida. Moved to Florida when I was 17 years old. With my mother. My parents separated. My mom moved to Florida. She was a school teacher, and my dad stayed in South Carolina. At that time, though, I was really into punk, really, really, really heavy punk rock, which I have always said, and I will always continue to say, punk and reggae have a lot of similarities, man. A lot of similarities. You know, when you take the music away, they're almost identical. They speak of, you know, revolution. They speak of social change. They're
Punk just didn't have a plan for after.
right. They're very unapologetic.
Tear down the system, but we don't know what to do after that.
Exactly. Yeah. Anarchy.
Reggae's like, we got to build something, man.
Yes, exactly. And that's where I got into a lot of my politics too. I have politics that maybe they might scare some people, but it's with the whole punk rock, anarchy. It's like, so once we tear this the system down, what do we do? And it's like, definitely takes some planning. But you can't just be standing there twiddling your thumbs going, all right, cool, man. So what's next? But I was really, really, really heavy into the punk scene. Played in some punk bands. Always just loved the music. I still do. I still love and adore punk rock music. And so did Bob Marley. He wrote that Punky Reggae Party song. So punk and reggae have a lot of similarities and a lot of connections from the rise of reggae and punk until now.
Were you big into like the British stuff, like Clash or Police or Mikey Dread and all that kind of stuff?
They listened to like the Clash. Their tour managers were talking about, on their tour bus when they were chilling, man, they'd be listening to, dub reggae, smoking blunts. You know what I'm saying? Like, they were really into it, and it's a beautiful thing. I don't know one punk rocker. I mean, I used to wear the pants with the patches all over them, and I had my reggae patches. I don't know one punk rocker that did not absolutely love and respect reggae music. Never ran into one. They all did. Now, I met some people that are into reggae that are like, punk's okay, but with the opposite, never met a punk that did not love and respect reggae music. So through that, I don't know how it happened. I met a guy. He played break beats for me, which is a form of techno music. Electronic music. Techno is its own style, but I kind of got into the techno, into the rave scene for a while, DJing, doing all that fun stuff. But reggae was always something that was always very near and dear to me. So we decided to move from Orlando to Daytona Beach, and this was 8 years ago now. Yeah, 8 years ago, 9 years ago, maybe. The second I hit the beach, and like I said, I first got into, reggae, Peter Tosh. I was 11 years old on my way to a surfing trip. The second that I hit the beach, I was like, something happened. I was like, I don't know what it was, man. A switch flipped, I went straight back to my age of 11 all the way through high school. The reggae it got me. So I started deep diving, making my playlist, getting it all back, making it a really, 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 really big, integral part of my life, and bought a Fun Shape, got a custom surfboard, started surfing again. And ever since then, like I said, from the age of 11, I had always been a huge, massive fan. But ever since 9 years ago, when I moved to the beach, I was like, I almost felt like I was stupid if I didn't listen to reggae all the time. I was like, how can you live on the beach and not just, it's the vibe, it's the feeling, it's everything, you know what I mean? It's perfect music for where I was, and I kind of didn't really like the whole rave thing anymore. It was fun while it lasted. The partying got really old. The fact that everything was always at night got really old. The fact that you were up till 8 a.m. got really old. All that stuff. So I, we started going to shows, meeting people in the reggae scene. Met Shannon Conley of One Love Fam Jams. Where it really kind of kicked off, though, was when, because I would always make my posts, me and Kira chilling, barbecuing, jamming that reggae music. So, everybody knew that I, loved it and was a huge fan. And Shannon Conley, she started One Love Fam Jams, just a Facebook page. And I was one of the first people she invited me. And then I went over to a gathering where Part One Tribe and a couple other bands played. And got to meet everybody, in that scene, per se. All the people that were starting One Love Fam Jams and all the musicians and things like that, and it was neat. I was like, all right, cool, this is something that I can gravitate towards, something I can be a part of, because I love being a part of things, man. I love groups like One Love Fam Jams. I love collectives, you know, people that come together to push not an agenda, but to push a message, you know. I love that. So everything they did, me and Kira were there. At every show they did, me and Kira were there. And I'd always been a drummer. Started with bass when I was 10. I was like, yeah, this is cool. Got my hands on some drumsticks, and I was like, this is way cool, way cooler to me. But oddly enough, I still say bass guitar is the most important instrument in a reggae band. But anyway, so I met a lot of musicians, and I was like, I definitely want to start playing again, you know, because I played in punk rock bands, I played in metal bands. I was like, I definitely.
So you were on kit first.
Yeah. So I went out, visited some friends. They had some congas and bongos, and I threw down on them. We got home. I looked at Kira. I was like, I have to. You know,
That's
and I
the
was
transition.
Like, yeah, I have to. So we got him, started moving my way through the different brands and all that fun stuff. Found what stuck. Played at a One Love Fam Jams Christmas party with Neil from Smyrna Herb and Greg Davidson from Temporary Setback. And everybody was like, it sounds like you guys have been playing together your entire lives. And we had never played together. So Neil was like, you want to be in Smyrna Herb? And I was like, fuck yes, I do. So that was 5 years ago. And ever since then, I've been playing in bands. I've played with multiple different bands. I've played with Vibes Farm. I've played with Savi Fernandez. I've played with Part One Tribe. I've played with Indigo Eye. I've played with a lot of bands. And
yeah, man, big shout Byron.
I love Byron and Damie, man. They're amazing people. But sorry if I seem kind of scattered. I'm just trying to do from the age of 11 into 47, which I am now, and try to cram it all in. But so that's kind of how it started, man. Made the transition here to Florida when my mother moved here. Once I met Kira, we moved out to the beach, and it's like it restarted something for me. Because when I lived in South Carolina, I lived on the beach. And
then some of the people that
I moved away from it, and then moving back to it, it's like I became, 12 years old all over again. And it was amazing. And ever since then, it's been nonstop, man. Reggae has always been a massive part of my life, but now it is my lifestyle completely. And there's no shame in my game saying that. You know what I mean? I love it.
There shouldn't be. Who do you feel like were your first connections when you got to Florida that helped bring you into the reggae scene there?
Definitely the One Love Fam Jams crew. Definitely Shannon, Neil Scott Herb of Smyrna Herb, which is this amazing, bro. His name is Neil Scott Herb. His parents named him that on purpose. So if you say it real fast, it's Neil Scott Herb. Neil Scott Herb. And his parents were hippies, and they definitely intentionally gave him that name.
Yeah.
Those were my connections, though. And then obviously through that, going to shows, you make more connections. I started to talk to Tyler Giddens in South Florida of Vibes Farm. I'd always been a Vibes Farm fan. And then one day we were having kava, and he's like, do you want to play with Vibes Farm? And I was like, wow, yes, I certainly do. So through him and through Shannon and through the entire One Love Fam Jams crew, and then obviously Mr. Corey Morris, who throws the Reggae at the Rock, which
Corey, man.
Tony, yes, one of my favorite stories about you. I always tell that one about the sound guy at the Reggae at the Rock. Through him.
So you think you're alone in these stories that have seen me throw my hat and curse under my breath on stage?
I know I'm not.
These are not unique tales,
right?
Mr. Scotty. I love everybody. I got a temper. I'm sorry.
So do I. I'm actually working on it. So are you. I can tell. You know what I mean? I think we're both.
Try
my
best.
Progress,
thumbs up,
bro.
Everything's getting better. Smiles.
Yeah, Picasso it didn't take him one second to create a masterpiece. You know what I'm saying? It's all a work in progress. Everything is a work in progress. But as long as you continue to work on it, then you're making progress. That's how I look at it.
Yeah, we all works in progress, man. Speaking of works in progress, on the musician end of things, who were the folks that drumming wise in reggae? And I'll get to punk too, because I like punk music. I'm interested to hear whether you're a 3-chord scream guy or a surf rock,
right,
East Bay Ray kind of guy.
Right.
But what were like some of the drummers that like kind of like when you first heard reggae drumming, you were like, oh, that's kind of what I want to sound like.
Well,
like who were some of the guys that influenced you early and kind of crept their way into your recipe?
Well, to be quite honest with you, my influence, oddly enough, and I know we share this, is well, not the person, but the style of music, is Giovanni Hildago. He is a Latin percussionist. He's a percussionist for actually the brand Latin Percussion. And oddly enough, I actually have the Giovanni Hildago series, Galaxy series of the Latin percussion, congas and bongos. He's not reggae, but incorporating his style into reggae music is what I really, really, really wanted to do, and is what I continue to try to do. His salsa is his number one genre that he plays, but actually incorporating that into it. But I would say the percussionist for Fortunate Youth is an absolute beast. The percussionist for Propaganda, I absolutely love. He is fucking amazing, bro. These are the guys that
both killer bands.
I try to. Hopefully, I will be able to emulate in 10 years. You know, they're that good. They're absolutely.
Oh, you're pretty dope, Scotty. That's why I'm asking. You got some tricks up your sleeve, bro. I've heard them.
Yeah. Right. Thank you, man.
Yeah, man. We talked about punk. What was like your era of punk music that you went through? Were you kind of an all around guy? Were you like a lot of folks? Where the '90s was like the split, and you're either the '90s fan or like the '70s and '80s guy? Where's home for Scotty in the punk world?
Home for me is probably early '90s, late '80s, early '90s, and I'll tell you why. The early punk, I have mad respect for it, but it was too slow. I really liked punk when the straight edge style came out. Minor Threat. Are you familiar with Minor Threat?
Yeah,
they were. I would eat, breathe, and sleep Minor Threat. That.
You tell me.
Yeah, three-chord punk. And I really got into crust punk. I don't know if anybody knows what crust punk is, but it's like.
It sounds dirty, my man.
It's almost like death metal. A lot of it's screaming, a lot of it's. But it's very, very political, and a lot of blast beats. If anybody doesn't know what a blast beat is, it's snare and a hi-hat at the same time, going faster than most people could hit a drum. They call them the disbands: Discord, Disrupt, Disturb. Not Disturb, not the crappy metal band that came out about 10 years ago. Yeah, no.
Not those guys.
But
no.
Osrotten,
they're not punk.
And I really love them because of their message.
Cool.
They were very into politics. They were very anti-government. Osrotten actually had a 7-inch inside one of their 12 inches with Mumia Abu-Jamal. He is a political prisoner, if anybody is familiar with him. It's called Live from Death Row. Yes, me and Kira knows Mumia very well. But I was in some political groups when I lived in Atlanta with my dad for a while, and one of the main political prisoners we supported was Mumia Abu-Jamal. So I tended to lean towards the punk that was very, very political. You know what I mean? That screamed about social change and screamed about injustice, but not only said, fuck the system, burn it down, but would pretty much tell you how, or what to do, or give you guidance and direction, or explain this is why we feel this way. Look at this and look at that and look at this and look at that.
You can yell burn the system, or you can show people the caliber and gun sizes in the Mumia case. You can tell people F the system, or you can show them Fred Hampton.
Yes.
And a guy drugging him.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So he couldn't move.
Correct.
And just and getting murdered.
Yes.
That's the way to do it. We can sit there and hold up fists and wave flags, man, but it's a lot easier if you can put something in front of someone's face and go, this is not whispers in the wind.
Yes.
This is people dying and taking hits, man.
That's
and
right.
I think for a lot of people, reggae music and punk music was young people ideology and no action, but this is the entry to the action.
That's right.
And this is how the door opens for you to actually make differences. So I think with a lot of people too, they're like, reggae's always been about black power, and it points out social issues and racism, and it's Now do you see?
Right.
Now that it's wide open, you said it wasn't happening.
Right.
Now it's wide open.
Right.
Is reggae just a bunch of guys in turbans? Or is it a bunch of guys in turbans making a whole hell of a lot of sense?
Right.
And maybe nobody was listening, and now it's being shoved in your face, and your holidays are being stripped away, and your kids aren't learning the history they're supposed to, and the wrestling lady is taking over education and like thing, and we're cutting the money on a country that is not ahead in testing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So like after a while, it's like you can say what you want, that this was all bullcrap and racism died and people are complaining for nothing, but it's not. It's not, and now it's in your face, and you can't get rid of it, and everybody's dealing with it.
Right.
So it's like reggae music was that first thing that I think people looked at as like, these guys dress differently. This isn't, I'm American, I don't understand. Well, I'm whatever background, I don't understand this. And it's like, dude, it doesn't matter if you eat yams or whatever you eat. It doesn't matter where you come from, what your background is. Common sense, common sense. People tell you some bad stuff's happening. You need to kind of wake up to it and go, okay, this is for real, or it's going to smack you in the face when someone without any sort of tethering or legal restrictions who plows through everything, takes over and throws it in your face.
Yes.
It starts killing people and losing children.
Right.
And what the hell?
Yep.
So
I totally agree, and my mom,
reggae is that voice.
Yeah, my mom used to always ask me, she's like, why the aggressive music? And I was like, well, I mean, because they are expressing points. The music is their art, and that is how they are explaining their message. It's aggressive for a reason. It's to get people's attention. There's one of my all-time favorite bands, and Kira loves them too. They're called Apple, APPLE. It's an acronym. It stands for Autonomy, Peace, Pacifism, Liberty, and Equality. And the lead singer, her vocals are beautiful. She sings like she's singing an opera. They're absolutely gorgeous. The music is not the real fast blast beats. It's kind of slower. It's heavy. But every single one of their songs is a straight-up essay on what's going on, what we can do to fix it, how to fix it, what action to take, and it's like a history lesson. You know what I mean? And I love that. I absolutely love that. They were definitely one of my favorite groups. Apple, definitely check them out. They're mind blowing. But yes, and all of that kind of ties in to where I'm at now, as far as the music, the podcast, my political, I ain't saying political, but my political views and stances and things like that. And I was thinking about it the other day. I might have gone through some very some short periods where I might have looked into a different ideology or kind of maybe considered it, but I'm the same as I was, or since I have been since I was 12 years old. It hasn't changed. It all starts from the heart, and I feel all of this in my heart. If you hear me say anything on the podcast, it's coming from the heart. You know what I'm saying? And my music also comes from the heart. So, but I try to incorporate all of those into my percussion, my drumming. I don't do blast beats on the bongos, but
cowbell.
I do like the speed if it sounds right, and the nice intense fills and all that fun stuff.
So what's your take on ska then? And I mean older ska. I mean, I don't really care, whatever ska. You do like ska? I mean, what about Catch-22? I love Catch-22, and I don't like most modern ska. Right. But those dudes are just wicked musicians.
I love modern ska. I like original
but they're
ska.
cranked. They are cranked fast. Like that drummer is an amazing nightmare on drums of just fills, and dude is all over the place. I remember when I first saw him, he looked like he was 14, and everybody else in the band was way old. He was a monster, and the trumpet player was rapping out front before the show. It was a wild show and a fun time, but they're one of the bands that I feel cranked ska up.
I love it. Yeah,
20 beats per minute and still kept it clean, which was pretty nuts.
The Voodoo Glow Skulls were probably one of my favorite. Have you ever heard of them?
Yeah, I'm kind of putting them on almost a pop punk ska vibe, man. Yeah, they're like gold, maybe a harder version of Goldfinger.
Right, yes, exactly.
Got some more grit in them.
Exactly. Yeah. Skank and Pickle, the Voodoo Glow Skulls, the Toasters, the Pie Tasters.
Mustard Plug.
Mustard Plug is fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. I love them. And
I
do love the Scotty. I like the old original
Ernest Wrangling's my hero. I love
really funny story real quick. I used to detail boats. I was a diver. I would swim under the boats and scrape the barnacles off. And one of the boat detailers I worked with, he's like, I have a degree. I have a music degree. And he's like, and you are wrong. Ska did not come out until the 80s. I was like, sir.
That's two-tone.
I was like, sir. He's like, if it doesn't have horns, it's not ska. I was like, sir, that's completely incorrect. But then I had to literally go back and show him the Scottalites that were out in the late 50s, you know what I mean? And I was like, reggae was birthed from ska and rocksteady.
Yeah, man.
And I could not convince this
Desmond
kid.
Decker.
I was like, you know, you need to go back, check where you got your education from. If it's basic stuff like that, and then there's probably a lot of things that you were misled on. But I was like, the ska that we know now is not the ska but it's still ska music. You know what I mean? It's just a different form, but it's ska punk. You know what I mean? But it's still ska. But I love it. It's so much fun to dance to skank to. I love it, man.
Yeah. It gets people moving, man.
Yes, huge ska fan. But to me, that was all part of the whole the punk era that I was into. Was ska was definitely a big part of that.
So the name, I'm going to take a hard left turn.
Yes, sir.
The name of your studio, Ohm and Honey. Can you give me a little background about why you picked that in particular? What significance that has for you spiritually? I don't know, just kind of like, we can't see all your studio, man, but like you want to point out some of the things around you too. Kind of what makes up the Scotty studio, name, cool. Things that are in it, all that stuff.
All right. Well, Ohm and Honey. Honey is, I mean, you can ask here, I've got probably 25 jars of different honey. I became a collector. I love it. I think it's the most amazing thing in the world because honey is the only food source on the planet that will not spoil. No matter where you keep it, no matter where you put it, like, you know, people are like, what about rice in a silo or grains in a silo? They'll mold on the bottom. It sits there long enough. Honey will not mold, will not go bad. There is nothing you can do to honey to make it expire or spoil. In a million years, that jar of honey will be mold-free, perfectly fine, no matter where you keep it. It's amazing. And I also, so it's not just that it tastes delicious. It stands the test of time. You know what I'm saying? Honey is like I said, the only food source that will not spoil. Its message will not spoil. It's like, I'm sweet, I'm good, damn it, and I'm here forever.
Shout out to the bee community.
Shout out to bees, man. And I'm also a big lover of bees. The amount of work they do and what goes into them actually making honey, and the fact that the average bee only lives, 2 weeks? I believe it's like 2 to 3 weeks is the average bee life. So they spend their whole lives doing nothing but working. That's all they do. That's it. They don't hang out and chill. No, they're like, I got a short period of time. I got to do this shit quick. But so, and then Ohm is very spiritual for me. To me, Ohm is the primordial sound of what was before Earth and everything was created. There was nothing but an Ohm, and everything, in my opinion, came from Ohm. As a very proud practicing Hindu. We could get to that later. I'm also a very proud Rasta. You know, I could call myself a Dharmic Rasta, which is perfectly fine. I take a lot of the my social and political views and everything, and most of that it ties directly in with Rastafari. But like I said, that's a whole nother podcast. But I also practice Hinduism, and Om is like I said, the primordial sound of the earth. It's the chant. If you're chanting Om, it's all about vibration. You know, it's all about frequency and vibration. And Om is the creative force, the creative frequency that everything is based off of. So my two favorite things are Om and Honey, or two of them. And I was like, you know what? I was thinking of names for the studio, and I literally was just sitting there, and I was like, babe, check this out, Om and Honey. She's like, I think that sounds absolutely fantastic. So they both, it's not just a name, they both have very deep spiritual meanings to me. And I thought, what a great way to represent what I'm doing. I think that's great. And now Hippie-Fari is under Om and Honey. Om and Honey kind of is the the blanket for everything. You know what I mean? So Hippie-Fari is part of and Honey, but and Honey Media Studios is what everything falls under. So,
Gotcha. This is one I've wanted to ask you for a while, and feel free to not answer me. But you better answer me.
Exactly.
Who's been your favorite interview? Who's been your favorite interview so far? Or maybe how about this? Most valuable? I watched a really great one you did with Ross Marcus Benjamin, which was fantastic. I learned a bunch from that one. I really like a lot of your ones you do with industry cats.
Thank you.
And but what would you think was your most valuable interview? And what got you on that track with, like, what was the first thing that made you go, "Ooh, I'm good at interviewing people. This could be something." I also feel like there's a lot of musicians that I feel like could get a platform that I like, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
What pulled you in, and then what's been your most rewarding interview so far?
That's a very hard one because there's different facets that I look at to make it most rewarding. I would say, and I'm not just saying that because you're on here, the first one I did with Cultivated Mind, because as far as rewarding goes,
messing around, bro. You don't have to say that.
No. I'll explain why. Because it has turned into...
There's a gun under the screen.
Exactly. It's turned into what we're doing now. You know what I mean? It turned into a monthly. It has turned into us having a music project coming up here in February when I come to visit you. It has turned into me being a part of the festival that I can't. My God, Point Break Festival. So as far as a rewarding interview, what has come of that first Cultivated Mind interview has opened many doors. You know what I'm saying? But
thank you.
As far as information and just something that most people don't really know about or think about is booking. And my interview with Tim Azzy was probably one of the most incredible that I have ever had, because it was supposed to be an hour to an hour and a half. Me and Tim talked so fast, in 29 minutes, this fucking interview was done. And I was like, damn, because I asked him a question, boom, 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 boom. But he shed light on something that a lot of people don't even think about. A lot of people just think, oh, I'm going to see a band tonight. All right. How did that band get there? What was the process that took for that band to be able to be booked at that venue? How did they get there efficiently from the last show? Like, how did they get, and he explained all of that. And it's just something that people don't think about, which is things that I like to address on Hippie-Fari are, things that people don't think about, like the merch guy. Nobody thinks about, oh, I'm buying a shirt. Do you know what goes into actually running a merch table for a band that sells $10,000 of merch a night? It's a lot. You know what I mean? There's a lot of facets. So I would definitely say you and Cultivated Mind for the rewarding, and Tim Azzy as far as the information that most people don't know or ever even care to think about. You know what I mean? But also one of the most crucial parts of the entire scene is getting bands from, their couch to the venue that you're going to go see them at. People don't think about that. But I did one with Jay Cantor from Street Level Uprising, where I had him pick 5 of his most revolutionary songs, the ones that spoke the most about social change. And we played all 5 tracks, and we discussed all 5, and that was a 2-hour podcast. And he even says that was his favorite that he's ever done, because he has podcasts talking reggae, but his favorite that he's ever been a guest on. So that one was absolutely fantastic. But then you have the big ones like Natalie Rise and Harrison Stafford that are just amazing. But those are just band interviews, I like to do the different things, like the monthly that I'm doing with you, or pick 5
Reggae's
songs.
Not made up of just the guy on the mic,
Right.
And I think no music industry is, and that's as much as you hate calling, like, Rastafari is not a religion; it's a way of life and a philosophy, and livication, if you excuse me, to preserving culture and roots and history that people try and snuff. So I don't want to call. What were we just saying, man?
We were talking about reggae industry.
I don't want to call reggae industry in like a piratey kind of way.
Right.
But like like Tim said, the crew that makes a show happen, or whether you call it the business side of things, the industry, the people buttoning holes.
Yeah.
It's a pain, man. And like I can say this, I've done shows where like you not supposed like a bar throw show for 3 hours. I wish I could relate this to some of the younger cats. A bar show for 3 hours is not the same as a show at a venue.
Correct.
And if you do both, you don't, and even that, you show respect to the bar you're playing at. But like people don't really get like, you got to have merch. You got to have a booking agent.
Right.
You got to
stage manager.
You have to have a record. You have to have sold tickets to the show to get the show.
Right.
You can't, no one just wants to book you.
Right.
Because you're pretty.
Right, exactly.
Or whatever. Like you think you're dope. You got to have numbers and
Right.
have done shows for years and been to that spot before and opened for people. And like, so you got that. And then you got the, you know, band members that are like, I'm here to party. The ones that take it seriously, the ones that show up to studio time, the ones that don't,
Right.
but still want their name attached to the junk so they can get royalties. It's a pain in the butt, man. And after a while, if you're like the person managing and stuff, you're not like the guy really doing the booking and you're not the guy doing the merch. But you're the guy watching the guy,
Right.
doing the booking,
Right.
and the guy watching the guy. So everybody's kind of got like is a balance of power within that whole thing.
That's right.
And I think for the most part, people really don't get that. Like it's promoters, it's a regular show, which happens every other night.
Right.
Takes like an army of people
Sure.
to put together. You know,
Certainly does. Yeah, I actually had Swayze's little brother, John Schwartz. He has a company that he started called Sit-Ins, SITNS, and he. On his website, you can go and get the PDF documents on how to be an effective stage manager, how to be an effective tour manager, how to be an effective merch guy. And I had him on talking about all that stuff. We're actually going to do a series where one podcast is going to be devoted to merch. One podcast is going to be devoted to stage manager. One podcast is going to be devoted to tour manager because he does it all. He knows how to do it all. And these are the things that people simply just don't think about, or they don't even think that it's, you know, what went into all of this. And throwing events in the past, there's a lot that goes into it. We had a friend who wanted to throw a festival overseas, and I was like, you're going to need about 200 people.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just let's get some bands and send them. No. Doing even small ones take a shit ton of people.
Housing for the bands. That's another one. We're all going to camp, and it's like, yeah, that's cool, man. But then half the time you go, and I've been a headliner and not gotten a room,
right?
And then been an opener and gotten I don't know what the requirement is for getting normal treatment at a show, but like there's no consistency. You got to have people vouching for you.
You do.
And I think at the end of the day, man, you deal with like a Root Fire. Big shout out to Reed Foster, man. Reed has a lot of sources. And Root Fire has a lot of resources on what you can do to get the ball rolling.
That's right.
And but I feel like, man, a lot of people just think I did when I first started out when I was like 20, and was like, why won't this booker? Half the people I ended up bitching about, I became friends with, and I love them to death.
Sure.
They're not supposed to know who you are. They're already booking 30 other bands.
Right.
You have to do something to get on their radar.
Right.
Be a one-man band.
Yep.
Be a 15-person band. Yep. Mix your stuff with pimento cheese. Right. I don't care. Whatever it is, but you got to do something.
Bite the head off a bird. Something.
Maybe not in reggae, man, but yeah, I got what you're saying. The vibe is right. I got you.
Yeah.
But yeah, sure. But that's kind of what I'm saying, and I feel like a lot of us kind of start off with that. And it took years, and then you hit like a point where you're like, oh, like now you have the clout to move around, the show's under your belt, and whatever. Now you can ask for other things where you might actually be applicable for that. So,
right.
I think just over time, man, you deal with like when you're coming up, you expect everybody to hand you stuff, and even if you don't, and like you're a regular dude, and you're just like, you still every now and then just go like, what the hell do I got to do to get on one of these shows, man?
Right.
And I got to blow a saxophone while I'm balancing a triangle. Like, what do I got to do, man?
Right.
And so after a while, like, or I promote a bunch. Half my friends have killer social media, and like people are still like, but we already have a full roster. And so like, there's like, I'm watching dudes from my neighborhood. It's spectacular, and they're still not breaking through. And the industry is still going, good job, buddy. Keep doing you. And it's like a weird. So you have to find a way to like exist on your own, be your own champ. Fight on your own, and then they pay attention to you. You can't expect people just to come up and hand you shit.
Right.
And like all of us believe that because we play music and we're completely, even the good ones are a little bit self-absorbed. So we're just like, it should be moving faster. Well, yeah, it should. I've done that. I've screamed that before. And then you'd sit back and you go, but why? There's a million people trying to do music and you're doing the same shit everybody else is.
Right.
Maybe you should do something different.
Right.
You know?
Absolutely. And that's what it's all about is doing something different, man. You know, everybody had a podcast, for example. Or a lot of people have podcasts. There's over 300 reggae podcasts that exist right now. And my goal, having a podcast, was not to be like everybody else, but it wasn't to not be like everybody else either. I didn't intentionally set out and say, this is what everybody else is doing, I'm going to not do that. I think I took the road that a lot of musicians take. It's, do you make the music that you're making for yourself, or do you make it for other people? And the answer that I get 99.9% of the time is I make it for myself. And hopefully other people, because if you're trying to please other people and trying to do it for other people, I think it's going to be watered down, and there's 8 billion people on this planet. How are you going to do something for 8 billion people that all have a different idea? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and then at that point, you make your music afraid. And I think we've all been victim to that, where you're like, I want to know if people will like this. And like, then you don't really put out what you're putting a muzzle on yourself because you're afraid people are going to hate what you're going to say.
Right.
And then you're not going to find the people that actually relate to the things you say because you're being a fake turd.
Right.
So you have to put out stuff that's really you, man. Speaking of which, Scotty, you're with Smyrna Herb right now. What do you guys have like planned for music releases? When can we hear Scotty play some drum tracks other than the stuff that we're going to make in February?
Right.
Where can we hear Scotty play some drums, man?
Well, there's an album called The Calling from Vibes Farm. I'm on every single track of that album, which is incredible.
Nice.
Smyrna Herb is, I get on Neil, Neil gets on me. We definitely need to get back in the studio. There's no plans. We do have original tracks that we definitely need to record. We play probably 2 to 3 times a month out, which is not a lot, but, I moved an hour and a half away. But we're playing tomorrow at JB's Fish Camp, which is great. Smyrna Herb is music for people that are at a bar or at an establishment to be able to not necessarily form a crowd around and listen to, but it's really good. It's good beach style reggae music. You know what I mean? We do a lot of covers. Obviously in our version. You know what I'm saying? But I guess we're just having fun, like jamming right now and just playing shows. But we are we are talking now that we have a solid bass player, Julio from 5 Time Shag, who is an amazing bass guitar player. He's absolutely incredible. Love him. Shout out Julio. To get back in the studio and start throwing down some of the originals. But Neil he's great, man. I love Neil. All right, we're about to play this. What is that? Oh, it's a new one I wrote. Never heard it before, but you know what I mean.
Yo, that's fair.
But
I do that to people all the time.
We do it. Yeah, it's fun, man. It's fun.
Sorry, TC.
Yes, it's a lot of fun. Yeah, right? But no, it's a lot of fun, and we have some new merch coming out, which is really cool, which I designed. We have a great little core following, but for the most part, we are at venues of people that had never heard us before, and at the end of the show, we always get people coming up to us. Man, it was great. Love you guys. Where are you playing next? It's all around New Smyrna Beach, Daytona, Ormond Beach area is pretty much what we say. It's very coastal. So we're the typical reggae band that if you went on a Saturday to a beach bar and saw a reggae band playing on the stage, that's us. You know what I'm saying? We're that typical beach style reggae band, and it's a lot of fun, man. Smyrna Herb is an absolute blast. I love doing it. I'll do it until my arms fall off.
Check them out, folks. Check out Smyrna Herb.
Yes, absolutely.
For interviews, back to that for a second. I skipped a question. If you could interview somebody that's within the industry part, sorry, I didn't bring this back. I went past my list. If there's somebody that you could actually ask or talk to within the industry, I'm sure there's a million artists that you would love to speak to, as well as I would too.
Yep.
But like, you have a good eye on who's in the gears.
Sure.
So if there's somebody that you could pick their brain in particular, I'm sure Tim was probably a great person already.
Mm-hmm.
But if there's somebody you haven't talked to yet, who would it be that you think would give you some insight?
Well, we actually already mentioned his name, and I've had 2 private phone calls with him, but I have not been able to get him directly on the podcast, and I know it's going to be a hard one, but it is the manager of the movement and the elevators, and one of the main people that keep Root Fire running, and that's Mr. Reed Foster. And the reason that I say that is because if you look at the elevators 5 years ago and look at them now, look at the movement 5 years ago and look at them now. That is great management. You know what I'm saying? They have these are 2 bands that they're phenomenal. They have talent, but there's a lot of bands that are phenomenal and have talent that nobody really maybe they don't hear. Reed has a way of using his knowledge to get these bands heard and to get them on the right tours and to work with the right people to make sure that, I mean, I know a girl who sold merch for the Elevators, and I'm not going to throw out any numbers, but the amount of merch that she sold over a 3-day period was jaw-dropping. You know what I mean? It was mind-blowing, and I was like, that's amazing. When we first saw the Elevators, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, they were on their way to Reggae Rise Up. It was called the Road to Reggae Rise Up, and they opened for Tribal Seeds and for Badfish. There was probably 30 people standing at the front of the stage when the Elevators played. Now, that's not the case.
Yeah, and I'll be around. I'll be honest with you, man. I've been around a little bit, and so I got the chance to meet both people from traditional reggae,
right,
and more American style.
Yeah.
And few of the people I've met, big up Matt Link, man, have been
the bass
put
player
some
for the
steam
Elevators?
back in my engine. Yeah, man, have put some steam in my engine and said nice things.
Yep.
And I got beat up along the way, like a lot of musicians do, and I started to look at every part of the scene as toxic. And
Right.
I needed a lift up, and I felt like I was getting kicked in the nuts that day. And he said some nice stuff to me, man, and it kept me going. So
Yeah, he's a great
I can't
guy.
say enough nice things. And a musically insane singer can. I yell, bro. I don't.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
that dude's got pipes.
Oh, he's beautiful.
So
man.
yeah, and like I don't know, man. Everyone that I played with them a long time ago at not some festival, it was a dope festival. Big up Music and Brad and Rebecca, man. It was actually killer festival. Yeah, we're extremely nice guys, man. So I don't know. I've had nothing but good run-ins. It's only been a couple times, but anytime I've been able to either be on a festival lineup with them or just cross paths at a bar or something, been really genuine cats, and I don't see that a lot in the music industry.
That's
so,
right.
Big up to the Elevators for being real people behind stage too.
100%, man. Yes, they're absolutely fantastic. Every time I've seen them, they remember me, which is amazing. You know, they're always on for photo
dope people,
ops.
man.
But Reed, yeah, definitely is because he is a wealth of knowledge from managing these bands to, you know, managing Root Fire to, you know, just making things work. Root Fire had one of the biggest podcasts. Wow, and I had been thinking about the name the entire time. The Pod Clash, yeah, that's it, the Reggae Pod Clash. Absolutely fantastic podcast. That was part of Root Fire too. So just the man knows a lot about a lot, and I would love to be able to get him on and be able to talk with him. So I'm sure, hopefully, it'll happen if I keep bugging him one day.
He's fantastic, man. Also, Tim Azzy. Oh, no,
Yeah.
we said Tim Azzy. My bad. I'm having a brain fart right now, man. Cat from up in Jersey area is killing me right now. I'll get back to you. He's reviewed my albums through Root Fire for years. I'm having a brain fart. I'll get back to you. Yeah, my brain's freezing. But yeah, Root Fire in general, man, has always like I got put on a tour because of them. And like I've done my own tours, but I got to finish a real tour. Big up to the movement, Tropidelic, for having me on that, and Reed for having me. And like I said, man, I'm off in left field. Whatever everybody else is doing, I ain't figured it out yet, and I'm always like, oh, we're making that now? I wasn't making that. Oops. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like I don't really always fit the mold, and still, even still, especially way back when there weren't a lot of guys that, to be frank, looked like me mixed in with things. And Root Fire was, you know, kind of starting, had specific bands they were working with to help build kind of what they were doing, and really like didn't have to look out for guys like me who were kind of not playing the game the way I'm supposed to.
Right.
And like they've always kind of looked out for me despite being in left field, and appreciated the fact that I care about music a lot. And so I say that about Root Fire, man. Over the years, I've watched them grow, and they haven't really forgot about Virginia Beach. And I've always, if we submit something, they review it. You know, if we ask for something, they look out for us. If we need promotions, they'll take care of it. So big up to the Root Fire guys. Big up Reed, man, and the whole crew. And yeah, just thanks to those guys. I hope you do get to interview them one day, man.
Absolutely, man. I've also reached out to, you know, like the Pier and Reggaeville. Yeah, I would love to just, because like I said, I like to have people that aren't, you know, just artists, you know, but actually the people behind the scenes that make these places that people go to find reggae news, you know, new releases, all that stuff. You know, people that make this move, because those are, to me, that's one of the most fascinating parts of the entire scene is the behind the scenes, you know. They're the ones that make the in front of the scenes people as, you know, popular or as, you know, visual as they are today. It's because they have a team of people behind them pushing them, and that's fantastic. So I actually have another podcast with I don't know if have you heard of it's called the Reggae Festival Guide. It's a giant.
Oh yeah, I have.
Yeah, it's a really big website. I have one of the curators for that coming on my podcast, which I'm really excited about. So that should be a wealth of knowledge. It's going to be a lot of fun. So I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, it would definitely be Mr. Reed Foster. And then if it came to musicians, I could sit here and name 1,000 of them. But I have a really amazing one coming up at the beginning of February, and I'm not going to say who because if it doesn't happen to go through, I don't want you know people saying. But I've been working on him for over a year, so actually since the podcast started, and he finally is like, yes, we're going to do it. We're going to do it. So we're going to do it. He actually reached out to me to confirm. So very, very excited about that. Absolutely.
You're just going to dangle it. You're just going to dangle that and leave us hanging.
That's
I got
it.
you.
All right. It's Ian Young.
Oh, nice, man.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm actually doing for his show here in Orlando. Hippie-Fari is going to be official media. We're doing interviews and all sorts of fun stuff like that. But Ian's actually going to come on a week before the show and do a podcast with me. So I'm very excited about that, and I think he is too. So I'm definitely looking forward to it, man.
He's one cat I got to see a couple times, man. I still haven't talked to him or been on a show with him, but I saw him at Ithaca, like the second one they ever had, Ithaca Reggae Festival.
Ah, right on.
Dope festival. And then I saw him, I think, at Elevation 27 or something like that. He had drumming with him. And like, it was a good show, man. And big sound for like 2 dudes, maybe 3 guys,
right.
maybe. But yeah, it was a sweet show, man. Big up Ian Young. Maybe one day we'll cross paths too, brother.
Yes, he is a fantastic guy. I followed his career all the way from Tribal Seeds until now, and he's just he's one of those guys I firmly believe that practices what he preaches. You know, he's awesome, and his lyrics are definitely a cut above, man. So amazing. So there was one other thing that you asked. I think I didn't. Oh, about the podcast and what made me wanted to do a podcast.
Yeah, what got you into this format?
Well, here's a quote from one of the actors that got me into it. He goes, "I got my Diet Cherry Pepsi, I got my Blackjack gum, and I got that feeling. It's going to be a good one tonight." And that is from Mr. Christian Slater on Pump Up the Volume. I don't know if you've ever seen that movie, but he was a pirate radio DJ. And my sister has always been involved in radio. She's in promotion. She's now the head of sales for 3 radio stations in South Carolina. But I've been around radio my entire life, and it's very, very, very fascinating. Every chance I ever had to be on the radio, I would go. From a lot of the political activism that I used to do, the college radio stations in Atlanta, to just anything. I had always been fascinated with radio. And I have a voice. I have opinions. I have things that I want people to hear. And I was like, you know, there's 1.1 million reggae bands out there. And it's kind of hard to, you know, to kind of get where we were just talking about that, you know? Like, you got to have the right promoters. You got to have this. You got to have that. You got to sell tickets. You got to do this. You got to do that. Well, with podcasts, there's only 300. I don't know if a lot of them are active, but it's kind of easier to kind of to get yourself situated for people to hear you because there's a lot less people doing it, especially with reggae music. So I love it. I love the microphones. I love the production. I love everything about it. And I was sitting with Kira and my friend Justin, and I was like, you know, I'm in a band, all that fun stuff, but I do have, there's things that I want to say, and I know of a great way to say it, and that's a podcast. So I bought my gear.
I mean, you have a way with words, brother. I'll give you that.
Thanks. I try. I almost didn't continue
Easy to
it,
talk
though.
to.
My AC leaked one night, and it leaked all over. The return is in the ceiling, and I woke up one morning, and I walked out, and my brand-new podcast mixer, my brand-new microphone, and my brand-new laptop computer were covered in water. Covered.
Fried.
I mean covered in water. So I called Jay Canner, Street Level Uprising, and I was like, fuck this. He's like, what do you mean? And I was like, this podcast shit, fuck it. He's like, what happened? And I was like, this is what happened. And I explained it to him. He's like, man, no, don't say that. He's like, you got too much to say. He's like, just do what you got to do and move forward, man. He's like, so sure enough, my wife is so amazing. By the end of the day, I already had a new laptop ordered, a new mixer ordered, new mics ordered, new cords ordered, new everything, you know. Even though we couldn't afford it, she still did it because she knew that it was something that I loved. But I love a platform where you can kind of make it your own. You can have the people that you want to have on. You can ask them the questions that you want to ask them and get the truth. You know, hey, what was behind that song that you wrote? Explain it to me. Maybe the people don't understand exactly what those lyrics meant. Can you kind of explain to us? Harrison Stafford was a great one. We went through his whole album, Candle Burning. He explained every single song on there and why he wrote it. That's not in, you know, we don't buy CDs and tapes anymore. You know, you used to be able to pull out the tape, you know, the Dead Milkman tape that had all their lyrics and their blurbs from each band member and who they were, what they were about. You don't see that anymore. It's on a playlist. Most people don't even know the band that's playing on their playlist. They just know that they put it on their playlist a couple years ago because it sounded cool, you know? And through a podcast, you can, you know, this is that song. This is why he wrote it. This is the guy who wrote it. This is what's behind it. This is what's coming up. You know, I like that information that you just can't get unless you're directly talking to the person, you know? And I like to hear people's honest opinions on other things too. You know, what do you think about the reggae scene? When did you get into it? Why did you get into it? How did you get into it? You know, that's just stuff that you don't even get that information on their websites. They're not sitting there writing an entire biography on how they got into reggae. So I think a podcast is a great way to connect with people, especially people that you like or people that you may have never even heard of. You're like, oh, I really like this guy. You know, to be able to just get, you know, down deep inside and really understand what's going on with him. And to me, that's fucking incredible. You know, it's a neat platform to have, and I couldn't imagine doing anything else. Somebody asked me, "Oh, is Jay Cantor? Would I rather do the podcast or be a musician if I had to pick one?" And he goes, "The beautiful thing is you don't have to pick." But the podcast was my answer, and I firmly, if I had to pick, I would. I know people are like, "Oh, you'd really give up your wow, you're not a real musician." No, I am, but I just feel like I don't know. I love everything about the podcast from start to finish. And it's not a showboat. You're not in front of a 1,000 people on a stage trying to impress somebody, you know? I'm in this tiny little studio sitting by myself, staring back at one other person. And then it's put out for the world to hear. But, you know, it's just, I love the platform so much. And I think it's amazing. It's something that I really look forward to. It's very exciting, very exciting.
Well, thank you, Scotty. And I think a lot of artists appreciate the ability to talk about music. So your platform gives us a chance to do that. And a lot of people like to hear a lot of stuff, the background, the history. But a lot of artists love speaking about the music.
Yes.
And so I think you give both to the listeners and you give a place for musicians to actually be musicians. So
yes.
Thank you for what you do, Mr. Scotty.
Thank you, man. I definitely appreciate it. And much love and huge shout out to you, Cultivated Mind, what you do. You've been doing it for a long time, and I love how you said earlier, you said you feel like you're kind of in the middle phase now, which is beautiful. You're not putting a cap on it. You're not saying, "No, I'm kind of towards the end." No, you know you've got a lot to do. I can't imagine how many songs you have. I know you have the B-sides that you're putting out, but I'm sure your roster, your track roster is probably hundreds of songs. So, I mean,
I'm constipated currently.
Exactly. I love that, man. Well, that's a beautiful thing, man. Love having you guys on. It's always a blessing. So thank you so much, man. Was there anything else that you had for me?
Just kind of the basic stuff, man. The stuff you give me. What's the future for the next year? Where are you headed with this? Do you got any big events planned where you guys are going to be covering?
Yeah.
What's the deal with the summer, bro? What are you doing then?
Well, actually doing the podcast for I did it at Reggae Rise Up, I did it at Reggae at the Rock, and I did it at Point Break. And that's kind of where I'm wanting to definitely the next year really focus on and get into it is I still like doing the studio podcast, but I absolutely love being out in the field, being at events with people and talking to not just the artists, not just the organizers, but talking to the crowd. Crowd interviews are some of the most fun in the world because you never know what somebody's going to say. They had no idea they were going to say it because you walk up to them with a microphone. You're like, hey, you want to do a crowd interview? So you're really getting the raw like truth from people, and it's so much fun. So already confirmed I have Ian Young, which I'm a media for that. So we're going to be setting up a tent, interviewing the artists, and I'm interviewing the vendors, anybody who wants to talk into a microphone, the crowd. We're doing definitely Reggae at the Rock next year, where I'll have my own stage, interviewing all the bands live with the speakers turned towards the crowd so you can actually hear the band being interviewed while it's going on. I've already put in my app for Point Break. I'm doing that one again. I'm doing, I believe it's the One Earth Reggae Festival with the boys from Space Camp. I'm really excited about that one. So that's 4 that I already have. And I'm figuring a couple more. Maybe 6, one every other month, because it is a lot of work. You got to take off work. You got to drive to wherever it is. So it's not just, hey, show up at a show. And there's a lot that goes into it. So, but it's just, that's what I love being able to do is, I mean, I'd love to tour with a band, and do footage of them, every single night, put together a 2-hour tour documentary, stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of the goal. That's the plan, is to do more of that, more of the on-scene, live, on location, where we turn it, Kira, post-production turns it into like a documentary style, which takes for fucking ever. But we did the one for Cultivated Mind, which actually turned out great. But and we're actually almost done with the live performance, but we did the one for Point Break. But yeah, which Cultivated Mind was featured in quite a bit, so that was a lot of fun. But that's the style. It was a great one. I know you watched it. You said you liked it, so that's good. And I know you're not lying to me. So
I would never.
I know.
No, it was dope, man, and I think you guys are doing something to bring a little element of class and sophistication to the coverage of these festivals. A lot of what I've seen for festivals in America is people like screaming in their phone camera and being like, "The show's in like 8 hours.
Right.
Better be there, bro." And you're just like, word, I'm in my mid-30s, man. I ain't about that. And then I need to know the date. Can you put the date out?
Right, exactly.
Be at the show tonight in the Barrens in the 2 o'clock. And you're just like, man, can you just give me like a list of some shit so I know where to be?
Right.
But like, so I think you guys, like, some of us like actually want to hear what musicians have to say, and you guys do it in a way where like you respect the music. I don't feel like you guys are just like, oh man, we're just here to kind of drift and whatever. You guys have a purpose to like chronicle what's actually happening on the East Coast and abroad musically, and you guys do it well. So I think you guys have a special place for a lot of musicians where we feel like we're not going to be like lampooned or cartoonized.
Right.
Well, I was actually made into a cartoon.
You were cartoonized.
But personality wise,
yes,
that we actually have a place where we feel comfortable talking about nuts and bolts, and like, so I like how you cover things, man, you and Kira, and I think you guys do justice to the music and take us not serious in like a way, but serious in a like, yo, this is actually music you should listen to.
Sure.
It's not just a big party. This stuff will speak to your soul. Hear what people have to say about it. Hear what the artists have to say about it. See what's happening so you actually know what's going on, aside from, a couple quick shots of something. So, I don't know. Big up to what you guys are doing, for real. It's important, and I appreciate you.
Thank you so much, man. And yeah, we appreciate you to the moon and back, man. It's so much fun. I'm definitely looking forward to the future with Cultivated Mind. Next year is going to be absolutely fantastic. And as long as I am living, breathing, and have the ability to talk into a microphone, these Cultivated Mondays, the Cultivated Mind Monthly, I mean, we'll be sitting here in 2 years going, damn, can you believe this? So, yeah, I'm really excited about that, man. And that's what I like to do, is do things like the Cultivated Monthly, or just it gives people a sense of structure and something to maybe look forward to. Maybe they don't like anything I do other than Cultivated Mind. That's fine. Just listen to that one. I don't, that's great, but at least people can have the options, and it shows them that I'm, that I'm actually into it and that I care about it, and I'm trying to get everybody all the information from every part of the scene, not just the artists, but the booking agents, the tour managers, the merch guys, and the crowd, the people that are paying to come and see the artists, the people that fund everything that we're doing. So we definitely, I like to get everybody's voice, man, because most media is very one-sided. So I like to be, well, not one-sided. I like to get the entire game.
No, people definitely get that from you, man. You never turn anybody off or turn them down for what they're saying.
Absolutely not, man.
This is what makes you a great interviewer amongst many things, bro.
Thank you. I really appreciate that, man. It's a lot of fun. I love it. Well, Tony, thank you so much. If you don't have anything else for me, my favorite color is orange, by the way, in case anybody wanted to know.
Yeah. By the way, Dave Schiffman is the cat that I whiffed the name on earlier. Right. Who has helped me without knowing me in the beginning and covered. Thanks, Dave. Sorry, I forgot your name. You're the man, and Cultivated Mind probably would have never got a leg up without you, bro. So thank you. But no, for any other things, man, I don't know, Scotty. Like, I've been yapping a lot. I feel like you need to do some more yapping. Is there anything that you wanted to cover for what you got around the bend, or anything else philosophy wise you want to share with folks, maybe, or maybe what's happening in February? If you want to add a little bit of a drop in for that, some cheese.
Yeah, I'm very excited about that. I hit Tony up and I was like, there's no time like the present. I want to do a project with you, me and you, on that stepper style UK sound system, just the heavy bass, dubbed out, beautiful lyrics that matter, music that matters. Hard hitting that gives you goosebumps when you hear it. You know what I mean? And I was like, it all started when I had a song that I wrote for my mother that I needed, completed. And I asked Tony if he would please do it for me. And he said, yes, without a doubt. And he's a tough nut to crack. So I was able to get that going. And I was like, I definitely want to do a project with you. So in February, I'm hopping on a plane and I'm headed to Hampton Roads, to Virginia Beach, to start on this project with Mr. Tony Brand of Cultivated Mind. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm very, very, very excited about it, and I know there's anybody who's going to do it justice and take my ideas and I take his ideas and actually make them what we have envisioned. I definitely think it's Mr. Tony Brand. So I'm very, 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 very excited about that. And the name, I spent a couple of weeks trying to come up with, the coolest name. It's going to be called I Sound Infantry, which is, and everybody that I have kind of passed that name off to and say, what do you think? They're like, wow, it sounds kind of militant and aggressive. And I was like, that's exactly what I was going for, man. So I'm real excited about that. I can't wait to get that started. I know it's going to be absolutely amazing. And then the events that I have coming up for Hippie-Fari, and obviously I'm going to be playing with Smyrna Herb throughout the year. We're definitely going to get some of our originals in the studio, which I'm excited about. I'm more studio-driven than I am live show-driven. I'd rather be in a studio making music that I can get out to, 10 million people. The live shows are a lot of fun. But there's just something to me. I mean, everybody's got their preferences, Some people, it's just stupid playing live's where it's at. Well, I like playing live too, but I do like being in a studio, actually creating things and making things come to fruition. I think it's neat. It's like an artist with their medium, You're in the studio, you're making your artwork, you're making it right, and it's a lot of fun. Working with people. Oh, I like this better. I like that better. Let's go back and redo this. Let's try this. It's cool. It's where the creativity flourishes, I think, inside the studio. So I'm definitely looking forward to being in the studio with you, being in the studio with Smyrna Herb, being in the studio with Hippie-Fari, doing all sorts of fun stuff, and then the post-production for all these shows. Poor Kira. So
thanks, Kira, for all you do.
She does a great job, man.
Thanks. Once I get some of this stuff in place, it'll be a little bit quicker.
Yes. But yeah, that's what it's all about, man. It's a lot of fun. We love it. So
we do.
Cool.
Well, you're talking to a guy who has like 4 albums backed up. So
right, exactly.
I understand time and stipulations.
But you do it all on your own.
Yeah, it's getting annoying. Hey, management.
Right. Yeah, right? No kidding.
I got all the pieces. Help me put them together,
yes,
please.
Amen.
But yeah, no, I'm excited for you to come in February too, man, to make something heavy. And, whatever happens for the next year for Hippie-Fari, I'm blessed to be a part of it. So thank you, Scotty and Kira.
You are an integral part of it. Thank you so much for being a part of it, man. I appreciate that. I know a lot of bands you approach, I want to do that. Oh, I don't have time. Okay. Everybody has an hour a month, that they could do. And I know you're very busy with everything you're doing, but you make that time, and I really appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate you, bro. And is there anything that maybe you think I missed that you want to add?
No, I think we got it all. I just wanted to share the pump up the volume, the quote from Christian Slater that really got me into wanting to be a pirate radio DJ. And I was like, well, nobody listens to pirate radio anymore. Even if I was pirating my own frequency, nobody would listen to it because everybody listens to streaming music now. So what's the next best option? A podcast. So
yeah, this is TV now, man.
That's it.
It's crazy. Yeah,
that's all it is, man.
Crazy times we're living in, and that's why they're putting more ads on. We wanted YouTube without the ads. What's wrong with you people?
Right.
But now it's just TV again.
That's it.
But I'm glad that you're one of the voices on it, brother.
Thank you so much, man. I certainly appreciate that. Well, much love. Thank you so much for coming on. Give Mr. TC a hug for me, okay?
Will do, sir.
And I will say, there is strength in unity. Build your community. Follow me on Instagram. Follow me on TikTok. Shoot me an email, hippiefarigreggae@gmail.com, and check out our new website, hippiefarigreggae.com. Well, www.hippiefarigreggae.com. And this is Scotty the High-Strung Hippie and Kira the Irie Empress reminding you to speak your mind before somebody else does it for you. And let me expound on that. It's very important because there are a million people out there who don't have their own ideas, so they would like to steal yours or get in your way and speak your mind for you. So you better have a voice. If you have one, make it heard. And do something nice for somebody today. Grab flowers for your partner. Smoke out a stranger. Slip the homeless man a buck. But whatever you do, do it from the heart. All good things start with the heart. Peace, love, and Rasta rhythms are all a part of that reggae revolution. One love, fam.